Welcome to Stronger Than Yesterday, the podcast where we focus on becoming just a little bit better every single day. How's it going? So, welcome to the very first episode of Stronger Than Yesterday. I'm Richard Crawford-Small, your host, and I'm absolutely thrilled that you are here taking this step with me. Whether or not you're just restarting your journey, you're trying to break through a plateau, just wanting to push yourself a little bit further every day, this podcast is for you. So today we're kicking off with the origin story. Don't call it a comeback. You know, there comes a time in every man's life. There comes a time in every man's life. Sorry, Prince interlude. Anyway. I won't ever sing again, I promise. You need to make a change, and maybe... Actually, no, I don't promise I won't sing again. I probably will, sorry. Anyway, there comes a time when you need to make a change, right? And you realise that you need to make it, you accept you need to make it, and it could be that moment when you're looking in the mirror and what stares back isn't reflecting you anymore. You're just looking in the mirror and thinking, what the fuck happened to me? I was a ripped, shredded athlete at one point in my life, and that dude staring back, the 50-year-old with the beer gut, is not me. Beer gut and man boobs and just like, woo, no, we need to change, we need to make a change. Or it could be around your business, maybe it's stuck in a rut and just looking to kind of break free. Or, you know what, you just realise that this version of you is just meant for more. Life is meant for living, and you just want to really realise the potential that you have. And all of that is fantastic, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to kind of share my stories, share my insights, my experience, and if it helps, that's fantastic. I listen to lots and lots of people on the mighty YouTube, and I listen to lots of different podcasts. Not many podcasts around kind of transformations, because to be honest with you, I've been looking around, and since the end of lockdown, it seems like there's a lot of people's podcasts that have just kind of died to death. So I'm hoping that I'm not late to the party. But here we are, and it's just something I've always wanted to do, and I'm just going to do it, right? And hopefully it resonates with you, because if you want to take that small step forward every single day through that compounds, and eventually you're going to reach somewhere that is just really, really special. But where you are is where you are, and I'm taking today just to kind of share my journey with you, and let you know why I'm here and why I'm doing this. So grab yourself a little comfortable spot, grab a pair of headphones, or if you're driving, just turn it up, because this is for you, and hopefully your story you'll find something in this story that maybe sets you on a different path and makes you realise and believe that you can do these things as well. Because one thing I want to make very, very clear right now is I'm not sat here as a guru of any sort. I'm not sat here as a fitness guru. I'm not sat here as a business guru. I'm actually sat here right at the beginning of a rebuild, a transformation, something that I decided that I wanted to do, a commitment that I have made to myself. And again, a lot of when I'm looking out there into the world for inspiration and motivation, and I'm looking at things, I'm finding things from people who have kind of completed their journey. They've been and done it, and there's not much out there really where people are sharing the journey as they go. And I've decided that there's a gap in the market, right? And otherwise, you know what? I'm going to record my own shit, listen to it back, because I do listen to my own stuff back. I find myself quite motivating sometimes. And share this journey and share this transformation with you. Right, so let's start at the beginning. And that's not way back when. That's probably about 18 months ago. And my business was quite successful. I'm a sales and marketing coach consultant. I specialised in a very niche market, actually. The what is the aesthetic market? So, cosmetic surgery. I've been in that market for like 20 years, selling various different products like Botox and Juvederm fillers, that kind of stuff. If you've heard of it, fantastic. If you haven't, doesn't really matter. And I've just sort of diversified out of that market, but I still do sales and marketing, coaching, consultancy. And I was at a conscious festival. So a conscious festival is basically where peace and love, and no drinking. It's just lots of healing, breath work, lots of lovely little workshops, and some great people walking around naked. Let's be honest, but it was good fun. And I was sat talking to a friend of mine, and he sort of said, "How are you doing?" And when my mouth opened, what was about to come out was the usual, hey, everything, I'm fine, it's all great, it's all good, everything's great. And what actually came out of my mouth was, I've never felt so trapped in my life. And when those words came out of my mouth, everything changed. Everything changed. And I realised that I had burnt myself out. I had been, during lockdown, as a small business owner, entrepreneur, I got, getting zero help from the government. So I had to work through it, grafted my little ass off through it, helping people, create subscription models and basically helping other people keep the lights on so they could help me, keep my lights on. And it went well. And then obviously when people went back to work, I'm speeding through this because it's, I don't want to look back too much. There's a reason for that I'll come to in the end. But I basically I just fried myself. And burnout for me arrived not with a sign saying, "Welcome to burnout population you." It arrived with me not really giving a shit about much. And that's not who I am. That's not how I work. I'm very passionate about what I do. I care a lot about the customers and people I work with. And I stopped caring. And that was a real shocker for me. I'd never felt it before. So I arrived at this town, destination burnout. And I knew, I had to change. So I took a break. If I'd knowing now and looking back, what I would have done is just stopped for a while, and not had to go through the whole kind of not violent breakdown. That's not what happened, but go through that whole process of finding myself. I would have taken a bit of a break, and just relaxed a little bit more. And maybe I wouldn't have had to do what I did, which essentially was fold the business I was running. Spent a lot of time working on my 1989 American Chevy G20 van. Got that, fixed all of that up, worked on my bike, did some bits and pieces. Unfortunately, from a financial point of view, my wife, Amy, she runs she's a fashion designer. She runs her own business called Do the Twist. Makes beautiful headscarves, beautiful twisted headscarves. And her business was growing. So what I did is I just took a bit of a step back from what I was doing, stepped into the shadows, worked with her behind the scenes to help grow her business. And her business grew and is still growing and took over the financial kind of load from what I was doing. So I was very, very lucky, very fortunate in that. Very grateful. I'm grateful for that I had that opportunity to take a bit of a break. So that was great. Took a breather. Probably took me about 12 months to kind of properly get myself back together. And I was just like, right, yeah, getting my energy back and starting having ideas again and being creative and thinking, right, can I rebuild this? I could do this. Yeah, I was just getting myself back into the swing of things. And then my father died very, very suddenly while we were camping. So August last year, so time of recording, it's October 2024, and my dad died on the 21st of August 2023. And it was a real shock because, 1 minute I'm sat having a beer with him, and then the next morning I wake up and he was real trouble, struggling to breathe. And he died. He passed away in his camper van. So that took the wind out of any of my sails that I had suddenly unfurled to get back to myself, to get back to who I was and who I wanted to be and the energy and all those different things. And grief depression is an absolute thing. It really is. And I say to people now, looking back on that time, it's like, my dad never died before. If he does it again, I'll know more what to do. But it just, it floored me, and did for a while. So it took a while for me to kind of process all of this, the stages of grief, not having. I was very, very close to my father, as you can probably tell. He was an absolutely wonderful guy. His name was Patrick Small. He was a artist, jeweler, very, very talented man. Very, very talented man. Great grandfather. Great dad. In the end, he was a great dad. And I miss him dearly. I miss him very, very much. But I don't have those visceral pains of fear, that pain of loss as I did. It's difficult to operate when you have that. When you're trying to do things and everything reminds you of someone and they're not there, and you have that reaction to the pain that stops you in your tracks. And I also started suffering from anxiety throughout this whole kind of process, 18 months. And again, it became difficult for me to operate. It became difficult for me to do what always came very naturally to me. Things like this, creating content, calling people up, sending an email, going to a conference, all those things stopped. Even seeing my friends, it got to that level where I didn't even go out and see my mates. Went to the GP for a referral, and greatest respect to the health service. It was a waste of time. It was here's a list of some men's groups that you can get in contact with. So I kind of realised, it's like, at that point, it's like, okay, you can deal with this yourself. And how I have been dealing with it is through process of healing, and also large amounts of CBD. CBD really, really helps me. Cannabis oil really, really helps me. I need to be careful what I say on, because you can't post stuff on social media. I'm not sure about cannabis oil. I heard someone got banned or shadow banned or whatever. The world's backwards, isn't it? But anyway, so all of these different things, they stopped me absolutely dead in my tracks, and made the version I was not great. So I often refer to myself as different kind of versions, like software, 4.9, me at 49. So version 4.9 was wasn't a happy little version, and then I also had my 50th, turning 50 threw a little spanner in there as well. I had plans of having this amazing party, and me and my dad, he was going to turn 70 the same year, and that didn't happen for obvious reasons. And I didn't really celebrate my 50th birthday. I didn't really celebrate it. I'm going to celebrate my 51st though. Oh hell yes I am. So there we are. So that that's essentially where what has happened to me. And as we come in to a year after the passing of my dad, and things all started to kind of come to the surface. I suppose that's probably the wrong term. They were already at the surface, but I started to deal with them. There we go. That processed them properly. And one of the things that I kind of processed was that I felt I was minimizing myself, and in that process of minimizing myself over time, I'd kind of just lost a little bit of my sense of identity. I didn't know who I was. Who am I? It's from Zoolander. Who am I? I'm a big fan of movies, by the way. You'll get a flavour of that through all the podcasts, and Prince and Hendrix too. Anyway, I'd lost touch with myself, and then I was like, you know what? I need to find this guy again. I need to find him, because this weak-ass motherfucker who is here right now, I don't like him. I don't like him. And that was this point of kind of a realisation that something had to change, and I had to do something about it. I am the only person who can do anything about this. we are the only people who can do anything about this. If you're listening to this and you're sort of waiting for the knight in shining armour on the big white horse to come over the horizon and rescue you, I'm sorry, he ain't coming. That white knight is you. You've got to become your own white knight, and you have to save yourself. No one can save you. And that's a painful realization, and you can spend a lot of time looking for people to save you, but the truth is the only person who can save you is yourself. And I had this moment, and it was looking at myself in the mirror, and just who was looking back just wasn't reflective of the person that I wanted to be. And I decided to make a change. I've carried excess poundage for a long time. I was a fit guy back, when I was in my 20s, like a lot of people were. I think there's a lot of people who did sports, rugby, football, whatever, in their 20s, maybe into their 30s, and would consider themselves to be athletes, and I think would quite rightly be recognised as athletes. But you get married, you have your careers, you have kids, and it's easy just to put on an extra kilo a year, half a kilo a year, a kilo a year. And even though I was playing rugby well into my 30s, I think I kind of I sort of finally stopped playing my early mid 40s after I just was broken to bits. I was just done. Couldn't get up in the morning after playing games. But I still carried a bit of weight, and that's probably because I was training down the gym. I was really lifting weights for rugby, but then drinking about 12,000 calories in beer, a bottle of wine a night, not really looking after my diet, but training for rugby. And I think it just kind of kept me at a bit of a balance point of not too fat, which was good. So, and obviously I retired from playing rugby, and then started karate, which is brilliant, but it's low impact. It's good on my poorly knees. It was low impact stuff. And I'd really wanted to get back into martial arts. I enjoy it very, very much. It gives me a sense of peace. Also, it's great at turning up and just being told what to do. And when I was growing up in Reading, when I was like, I think I stopped doing karate when I was about 13. I did it for about 3 years, because I had a choice to make, and it was either rugby or karate, and I just felt I was enjoying rugby more. Our karate instructor at the time was a bit flaky, never didn't turn up half the time, and I ended up getting taught stuff by your mates, and that's no way to be. So I stopped and just carried on playing rugby. So here I am now, 50 years old, and at this point of divergence and loving it. I have arrived at this point for a reason, and maybe the point of me being here is to help you on your journey, and I would love that. That would be something that would make me so absolutely thrilled, because you don't have to do this alone. And me sitting here weirdly just talking into a microphone actually makes me feel like I'm not alone doing this. I have a lot of support, don't get me wrong. I have a very supportive family. I think slightly bewildered sometimes at me, but that's it. I've been married for 20 years. I've got 4 amazing kids. My oldest is 20. My next one is 18. One after that is 13, and the one after that is 11. I always get shit for getting their name, their ages wrong. Don't even ask me their date of birth. But forgive me, I won't name them because it's not appropriate to do so. But anyway, moving on. So I'm at this point, and it's exciting for me because I get to do something I've never done before, and that's cool. And that is identity shift. An identity shift. I've been reading a book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, and it has really impacted me. I'm only a little bit through it. I'm 3 chapters in, and it's quite inspirational. What it essentially says is, I think is that we have the right we can choose. We are automated machines. There is a program in the human brain. To be honest with you, most self-help books say the same thing. Law of Attraction, The Secret, Atomic Habits, they all kind of say the same thing, right? You have to do things over and over again, and then they become automated. But the way this is structured is it kind of makes you feel that you can do it. All you got to do is to do these things, and you can do it. And it just made me think, it is that simple. It very much is that simple. In business, in my business world, I help people achieve their goals. I help people listen to where are you now? Where do you want to get to? And then look at the pathway in between the two places, create a strategy for them, or help them create a strategy, which is the map. If they get a little bit lost or need some support, I become the guide, and I give them some tools, right? I give them some templates, or help them with the AI side of things, or give them a little bit of a growth engine, marketing, automation, all these different things. I help them get where they want to get to. And all they have to do is follow a series of steps, and they arrive at where they want to arrive at. And the process of embedding automation into their world makes life much, much easier. And it's thinking, you can do this as a human, right? You can do this as yourself. So part of my comeback, and saying don't call it a comeback, is it's always been there. It's always been there. And I think for you, it's probably exactly the same thing. It's always been there. Now is the step that we're going to take to actually, finally, once and for all, deal with it. And for me, it's dealing with things on 4 different levels. There's the physical self. There's the emotional self. There's the spiritual self. And then there's the intellectual self. And each one of those needs our attention. And I'm going to focus on the physical self at the moment, and change my body composition, because I want the person who's looking back at me to be reflective of the person that I am. And what I see at the moment when I look in the mirror is my lack of self-discipline, my lack of consistency staring back at me. And I don't want to see that anymore. What I want to see reflected back at me is someone who is consistent, someone who is self-disciplined, and someone who looks after himself. I've always felt but I look at how people perceive me, and I'm doing a lot of work to try and not worry so much about how people perceive me or what people think of me. It's a long journey, right? They think, someone who used to be in shape. But recently a friend of mine said that she's like, I've always thought you were pretty ripped. And I was like, wow, okay, that's really nice to hear. But then when you know your own capabilities, when you know what you are actually able to do, when you know you're able to look like, I thought, wow, okay, maybe this is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting, right? This is going to be amazing. So I'm now at the beginning of this journey, right? I'm 2 weeks in, and body fat's down, muscle mass is up. I'm a bit clearer, drinking so much water, I'm constantly peeing, and I'm ready to, I've settled the physical self down, and I'm going to keep going with that, and I'll be sharing aspects of the physical journey, challenges I've had, because I'm a bit of a unit. I'm currently 116 kilos, and 79 kilos of that is muscle mass, and I want to keep that. So I need to eat 200 grams of protein a day, which is a hell of a lot. As soon as I finish this, I'm actually off to Costco. My wife Amy has deemed that I'm paying for my own meat, because I'm eating a hell of a lot of meat, as you can imagine, which is like, quite a significant amount of the family food budget going into chicken that I'm eating. So I've got to deal with all of that. Anyway, so there are challenges around that. There are challenges around motivation. I'm getting up at 5:30 in the morning, between 5 and 5:30, and I am not a morning person. I really am not. I am much happier, just getting up when I want to get up. But that's not how this game is going to be played. If I want to get an hour and a half worth of training in, because the weights I'm doing takes about an hour and a half to do, and if I want to get that in, then I've got to get up earlier. If I want to do the walks, I've got to get up earlier. All these things have to be done earlier, ahead of the day. As soon as the day gets busier, you don't really do it. And one thing I have really noticed, actually, and I noticed it today, so I got up at 4:30 this morning. I was in the gym for 5:30, and what I noticed is that it's the same faces that are in the gym early, and they're all in really, really good shape. They're all in really good shape. So that tells a story, right? That, you know, if the fit guys, the fitties for guys and gals, are in there early, then that's part of their discipline. It's part of their routine, their regimen, which I actually really liked. It kind of felt good, right? I'm in the right place. Your environment dictates your performance. So if I'm in the right place, i.e. a gym, and everybody in that gym is in really good shape, then I'm doing something right. Absolute win, perfect. And I'll before I leave you, I'll leave you with a new definition of success, because I'm not going to go on too long, because I want these to be short, sharp, 30 minutes, 35 minutes tops. I can't concentrate for any longer than that myself. So I really envy people who can listen to Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO, because I'm sure there's a wealth of information in there, but I find his voice quite soporific, and they're so long. Like Joe Rogan's are just so long, with 3 hours. I haven't got time for that. I don't know how. I just don't know. I don't understand it. It's not something I can do. I can compute. So we're all about the physical side of things. The spiritual, emotional, and intellectual side of it, we'll be dealing with all of that as well. I'll be talking to you about that. I'll be interviewing certain people, some friends of mine, about identity shifting and how we can become the people that we want to be. How can we become this version of ourselves that just feels spot on? We wake up in the morning, we feel full of energy, we go out and we achieve, we get the jobs done, we get it done, and we have the success that we want and the success that we deserve. Now, the last thing is the definition of success. Now, again, reading Psycho-Cybernetics, I do encourage you to read it, or listen to the audiobook. I can't really do audiobooks. I tend to tune out, but I read books. It's worth a look. Definition of success that it's talking about is that success is simply the completion of a designed task. And I absolutely love that, because I think one of the things that we do is we put our success too far into the future. It's too big. So I'm sat currently at 28 and a bit% body fat. My goal is 15. That's half my body fat has got to go. Now, that's going to take time. I've estimated it's probably going to take me the best part of 12 months. Now, if that was my sole goal, that's a big one, and it's going to take quite a long time. It's easy to lose motivation. It's easy to get on the slide, if you like, the slippery slope down. It's easy to get on that because it's just such a long period of time. So thinking of it as success is just the completion of a designed task, then that gives you success in everything. The success is there, and that's part of the whole process around this sort of reworking your brain. Is it's easy to see negativity, it's easy to see failure, and that's one of the things that I've done in the past, is very much relived my failures rather than reliving the successes, and of which there have been many. But I replay the failures. So setting the alarm and getting out of bed at 5, doing a workout, and then getting home and eating breakfast. Those are the tasks that I've got to do. And I start the day with a win. I start the day with a massive success. Got up, trained, came home full of energy. And then the next success, and the next success, and the next success. And you've got a list of tasks that you've got to do. Even doing this podcast, recording this, this is a success. Whether anybody listens to it or not, I have successfully done this. And that's a win, and that should be celebrated. So I love that definition. And if you don't have a definition of success, why not adopt that? Because it's small, it's easy to bite off, and all you've got to do is write a list of 10 things that you can do today, and you've become successful. It's fantastic. So there we go. That's going to be the end of episode 1. Don't call it a comeback, but let's have a comeback. So if you're listening to this and any of this has resonated with you, I would love you to do a couple of things. One, as I'd love you to subscribe and follow the show. That would mean a lot to me, and I would absolutely love to help you as well if I can. Follow me on TikTok or Insta or anything like that. All the channels have exactly the same name, and it is i.am.rcs. i.am.rcs. Or go to the website, which is imaginatively titled iam.rcs.com. And engage. If if this has resonated with you, leave a little review. Just give me some feedback. Even if you think I'm a twat and this is shit, I'd still like to hear from you. Even though I'm not one of the guys who just sit there and ignore it. No. If you're a hater and you comment, I'm gonna come. I'll shout back at you. Absolutely, you've given me free will. If you call me a dick, I'm coming for you. It's fun. But anyway, listen, guys. So that's been fantastic. So next week or next podcast, I am going to be discussing and talking about the concepts around identity shifting. I'm going to be digging a little bit more into this whole thing around visualization, affirmations, why I think affirmations are bollocks, if I'm honest, and how you can use your mind a little bit more to help overcome some of the journeys, and how I am doing all of this. Remember, all I can talk about is from my perspective, and invite people in to talk about it from their perspective. And if you want me to invite you in, and you want to have a chat with me on a podcast, I'd absolutely love that too. So until next time, my name is Richard Crawford-Small. I am your host, and it has been a pleasure. Peace out.